A supplement to free energy. A final resolution. Thor Fabian Pettersen, 2017. A supplement to free energy. A final resolution. Ebook. Copyright Thor Fabian Pettersen, 2017. Layout, Thor Fabian Pettersen. ISBN 978-82-6904445-7-7. Some additional things not mentioned in the work directly, but nevertheless are there indirectly. Free energy does not violate the laws of nature, or the reason of men. The heart of nothingness, like a magnet, contains zero energy because the nothingness is a force. The heart does not have an energy output bigger than zero. In fact, all is zero. Nothingness is zero. The universe is zero in the last instance. There is no such thing as over-unity in that sense. In addition, you can only get out what you put in, and vice versa. This is common sense. One cake went into the oven, and two cakes came out. That is not what happens. In fusion, this can happen, but that is because the oven already contains many cakes. In the heart/core of darkness/nothingness, nature puts in dead energy and nature can get out that same energy, only now the heart/core has revitalized that dead energy. We spend/kill it again. Energy cannot be created. The nothingness simply transforms, at no cost as I have explained, the dead energy into living, available energy. Thus, free energy was never about gaining new energy from some wood fairies. More. An astronaut floating in space is not floating in space. He is falling. The way the astronaut falls is by virtue of speed. I believe that speed and gravity are the same thing because motion, i.e., the cuboctahedron, is all there is in my hypothesis. On Earth, you stand under a cosmic waterfall that is the force of nothingness. It is pulling you down like a waterfall. However, the ground stops you from going with the waterfall and you feel the pressure. This pressure you feel is gravity. That is, gravity is speed. If you were to go with the waterfall and have the same speed and no ground to stop you, then you would not feel the pressure and therefore be weightless as weight equals the pressure. How can you feel weightlessness if not speed and gravity are the same thing? The force of nothingness is perpetual motion, and literally so, it is motion that never stops moving, but it has nothing to do with perpetual motion machines. A perpetual motion machine has nothing to do with perpetual motion per se. A perpetual motion machine produces work without the input of energy, which is madness. That is like saying, I'm going to cook a delicious meal without adding any ingredients. If you get something tastier than air, let me know. The force of nothingness does not produce work at all. The force of nothingness clumps together the dead energy making it come alive again. Then the energy can once more produce work. Two different realities, in other words. When the universe dies, one can envision the nothingness bringing it together again. So free energy works on the universe as a whole, which is too bad for us. Therefore, for free energy to work, we need the force of nothingness to resurrect individual atoms while the universe is still operating. However, this would amount to asymmetry, and we can't have that because nature is supposed to be symmetrical. The solution is that it looks like asymmetry, but it is not so because every atom/torus is a mini-universe, which can be seen if all atoms/tori, including the universe, is an expression of the cuboctahedron. Thus, when the nothingness acts on a single atom, the nothingness acts as if it was acting on the universe as a whole. Therefore, the force of nothingness can operate on individual toruses without it being asymmetry. Moreover, we accomplish true free energy. My greatest idea ever. If a clump of atoms sits in one corner of the room and then spreads out due to chance, then all we need to do in order to get our atoms in the starting position, is to shrink the room, which the train to nowhere does, below. This shrunken room, i.e., the state of nothingness, is the way the light views reality. In other words, my greatest idea is literally nothing. That is, the shrunken room is always there due to the first law of motion. Therefore the shrunken room is always there, it can perpetually fuel existence with available energy because the room is so tight that the dead/unavailable energy that falls into it becomes ordered again. In other words, the beginning of time is an ordered state. We can employ that state to drive our cars and spacecraft forever. In other words, we do not need an organizer. We only need for the torus to contract, naturally/by the force of nothingness, in order to solve the mystery of the ordered beginning. The train to nowhere. Let us imagine two trains, and let's call them train A and train B. Let train A locomote as fast as you can imagine. Let train B locomote at half the velocity. Now, imagine train A again, but this time, double its speed, and keep doubling until, train A, from its perspective, looks back at train B and, what does train A see? Train A sees train B is frozen in time. That is, train A sees train B is not moving at all. But train B is moving. Or is it? If train A covers the distance twice as fast as before, then train A must see train B is moving twice as slow as before, therefore, now, train B has covered half the ground as before. If you keep doubling, then train A will eventually move so fast relative to train B that train B is unable to cover any ground by the time train A has covered its ground and continually so. You can represent this as a scale that grows and grows in which the distance traveled by train B gets smaller and smaller until the only meaningful distance traversed by train B is marked as a dot, or not at all. Here comes the key to understanding. Let train A always move that fast. Let train A have moved that fast since eternity. In this new picture, train A does not see everything as frozen, rather, and this is the most crucial point of all time, train A sees nothing at all. How come? Because, from train A's point of view, if everything were eternally frozen, then that means that nothing has ever moved, and, if nothing has ever moved, then we cannot have space or eternally frozen either. Without space, we have no history/trajectory. Without history, we cannot have frozen things. Thus, from train A's point of view, there is only nothingness. That is, from train A's point of view, there is no visible space-time. From train A's point of view, we can say that we have absolute space-time, that is, space-time that does not follow the ordinances of relativity. That is, if you are small, then someone else must be big. This is relativity. However, if you move so fast that you are completely alone, then you are neither fast nor slow because you have no one to compare yourself with. You are something else. You may be both. In other words, we take, say, the atom, then we give it to the Thor with the hammer, and then the thunder god hurls the atom with all the might in the universe. Imagine the atom as it travels faster and faster in space-time. Eventually, by the power of Thor, the atom will travel so fast that it disappears. Everything arose from nothingness, is my answer. Nothingness is an eternal force that is so fierce, fast and strong that it bends space-time into a knot that has, literally, no extension or propagation, the zeroth dimension. To solve the paradox of motion, nature has found the ultimate solution, speed. That is why she employs the cube octahedron, as it is built for ultimate speed. To solve the paradox of motion, nature has found the ultimate solution of spinning so fast that we have no movement or nothingness at the beginning of, well, everything. This intense form of motion must always be there. It has not been created and, it cannot perish. My hypothesis is, nature employs the cube octahedron as it is built for ultimate speed. Google Richard Buckminster Fuller if you want to know why/how the cube octahedron is built for speed. Some clarifications. Force equals the spinning dual torus that make up the body of nothingness. This body spins forever, thus, the force is everlasting due to Newton's first law of motion. Energy equals is when the tori come together into clusters like the sun by virtue of the cosmic traffic jam. When these clusters are spread out due to the second law of thermodynamics, they will not be able to work together because of the distance between them. We thus say they are dead. When they are clustered together, they are alive, ready to do mechanical work. In other words, energy equals synergy. If you need 4 men to lift a car, then they can do it. However, if one is in China and the other one is in Peru, then you will see what I mean. The only reason energy dies is because of dimensionality, which is caused, I believe, by the dark energy and the cosmic traffic jam. Dark energy equals the fact that the cube octahedron can make copies of itself, then the copies make copies and we get the exponential function that we call a bang. We thus get an accelerating universe as the copies of the copies make new copies and so on. If you have a can containing, say, particles, and then you open the can and let the particles fly out, then what is the probability that our particles will fly back into the can? I imagine close to 0 and next to impossible. That is, energy is always dying. This is the second law of thermodynamics. That is, the clusters are always on their way to annihilation. However, this is only a fact if we have room or dimensionality. In the toroidal core, there is no room and therefore no death. The beginning of time is always ordered. So, if our dead energy were to find its way to the core of nothingness, then they would be revived/ordered again due to the lack of dimensionality in the core. In actuality, the spin of nothingness will revive them, and, due to the traffic jam, the reborn can once more cluster. Such is nature immortal and such is free, or, more to the point, immortal energy made. Immortal, not because the energy does not die, but because the force of nothingness revives it again, a force that itself cannot die and is everlasting. This force is the true unmoved mover. That is, nothingness spins so fast that it does not move, yet, due to the cosmic traffic jam, the force births space, and time. Nothingness itself, knows no time. The force is equals to 0 energy. The energy that is, will dissipate and become 0 over time, that is, the clusters will dissipate. Then the force can birth new, in actuality, old, energy by reviving the dissipated clusters as explained in the main work. In other words, the whole picture is equals to 0. Other. Q. The ejected fuel/toruses from your car, which are sucked into the larger tori in the environment, will they not affect the core of nothingness and slow it down over time, thus rendering your theory useless? A. No. The toroidal core is the fastest thing in existence. Say that book A is the toroidal core. Say that the universe is book B. Say that book A is a million times heavier, in actuality, faster, than book B. Place book A and B on a scale. How can book B tip the scale over and thus affect book A? If the toroidal core was measured to be much more powerful, then we can make a case for free energy. How can a bit of foam, the universe, rally the ocean, the nothingness? Q. But the toroidal core, which would be equal to gravity, is measured to be exactly 0. Matter, positive, gravity, negative equals 0. For example, you have to add energy to the Earth in order to tear it away from the Sun. One separated far from the solar system, the Earth then has 0 gravitational energy. But this means that the original solar system had negative energy. If you do the math, you find out that the sum total of matter in the universe can cancel against the sum total of negative gravitational energy, yielding a universe with 0, or close to 0, net matter/energy. So, in some sense, universes are for free. It does not take net matter and energy to create entire universes. In this way, in the bubble bath, bubbles can collide, create baby bubbles, or simply pop into existence from nothing. Michio Keiko. Okay. I think I've got this one. If you use 100% energy to get the planet out and the planet now has 0%, then the gravity had to be minus 100% to add up to the 0% of the planet. 100 plus 100 equals 0. Nevertheless, how can it pop from 0? The know-how is missing, as Neil deGrasse Tyson noted. This plays right in the pockets of William Lane Craig. God knows how. Only God can set such a universe going. And Craig has a whole, complicated and awesome philosophy just for that. I have read his philosophy, and you know what, I agree 100%. If that is the picture, then I agree with Craig. However, I do not believe that it is the picture because I am an atheist. In other words, the physicists are missing something big. Take a coffee cup sitting on a table. I lift the cup up and spend energy doing it. If my arm contained all the energy in the universe and the gravity forcing my coffee cup down equals all the gravity there is, then we also get the state of 0, that is, our coffee cup once more floats in space by the virtue of my never-tiring arm. But how can this state birth a universe? I can easily let go of the cup to create a universe, but nature is not an agent that can do that, lest we envision a creator. I also envisioned a nothingness that spun so fast that it generated timelessness. Thus, if God were to tap a little on the brakes, then the curled up space-time would be visible and we would experience a Big Bang. However, there is no agent that can do this, so I needed to come up with something ingenious. Nothingness spins for all time and generates timelessness, and that is it. There is no other process. Nature has a will to nothingness and there is nothing besides. One force. That is it for all time. So whence came the universe? That is the traffic jam, which is a byproduct of timelessness/nothingness generation. No supernatural creator. We only need to envision a nothingness that is constipated, as I am right now writing this. The cosmic vacuum cleaner. The four forces of nature, which are strong, weak, electro, and gravitation, are all, by unification, a force of attraction, or a single force. That is to say, you don't need a negative pressure for the expansion of the universe, a force of attraction outside the universe would suffice. A black hole placed on the periphery of the universe may explain dark energy. This would allow for an increasing, evolutionary, expansion. The more matter that is sucked into this all-embracing black hole, the easier it will become for this force to suck in more, because there is less matter to suck in. This black hole is not really outside the universe either, it rests on the periphery. If this is so, it would prove difficult to talk about what is outside this black hole, and hence, we will get the answer to the question, what is outside the universe? In short, for attraction and repulsion you don't need two different forces, you just need to place the one you've got into the right spot. This is just a thought experiment, and I do not believe in it. But it nevertheless proves a point. We don't need two agents. We can make do with one. In other words, it is better that we have one player to explain the origin of the cosmos than two. One player, the force of nothingness. Two players, energy, gravity. If we have only one, then we do not have any enemies, which makes it a lot easier. It makes much more sense to have only one. The beauty of philosophy and poetry speaks of having only one. Nevertheless, physicists hate philosophy and poetry. It is easy to get 0 from 100 to 100, but it is impossible to get the 100 to 100 from the 0. To illustrate, it is easy to get a baby from a father and a mother. It is harder to get a father and a mother from a baby. You need at least one more baby and some patience. In other words, I do not understand the modern picture of creation. Then again, I am not a physicist. Thus, I might have misconstrued their picture of creation. That is quite possible. However, I believe that our dear and brave physicists are missing the fundament of all fundaments. And that is that 0 is equals to fast spin/nothingness. Fast spin can birth the universe. You can only achieve 0 with balance, like a gyroscope. What does that mean? It means that, although nature reaches 0, i.e., nothingness, she does at the same time not. The 0 is accomplished by the fluctuations in empty space, that is, the 0 is accomplished by the cube octahedron spinning in and out of phase/equilibrium, R0. This spinning in and out equals a torus, dual. Thus, there is never just 0. Nature is a system, therefore, there is never just 0. Nevertheless, there is 0 also. And there is fast spin. Both obtain, therefore nature is a system. That is, if 0 is equals to our gyroscope not tipping over, then this can only be accomplished with speed. We thus get spacetime as a byproduct as the cube octahedron spins in and out of phase in order to generate the phase. Spacetime is out of phase. Nothingness is in phase. You can imagine a yo-yo. When the yo-yo is wound back it is in phase, and when the yo-yo is, say, out walking the dog, it is out of phase. And since motion is inherent in nature, then nature must get out of phase before she can get in phase anew. That is, she wants to be in phase, but since she is on the move, she must get out of phase in order to continually get in phase. If she could just stay in phase, we would not be here as the universe would never have been born. So nature is like an eternal heart. Maybe that is because our heart is based on the dual torus. So nature is literally a heart. Other. Q. When things are clustered due to the traffic jam, then energy is created. A. No. The energy is not created. Clustered or not, the energy is there. The only difference is if it is dead or alive. The reason why nothing can be created is simple, nothingness is all there is for all time. Nothingness is like an ocean, a bit of foam, the universe, can rise in it, but the ocean will never grow larger by some magic of wood elves. Then how much water is in the ocean of nothingness? The water equals to the 0 propagation of spacetime. That is, the spin of the cube octahedron determines how much there can ever be. The spin is final, which means that everything else is too. It is just common sense. We are the froth of nothingness. A personal and angry note. The most flawed criticism on my free energy thinking I ever got was something like, if you actually went to study physics, you would see how silly you are with your free energy. Okay. Here is a man, much smarter than I am, and probably much smarter than the person giving me my criticism. His name is Robert W. Kuntz, Google him, http://www.drkuntz.com/right_, and he is a real experimental nuclear physicist who believes in the reality of free energy. He studied physics for many years, and he was not persuaded by the notion that free energy is silly and not worth one's time. Not worth it. Free energy can heal the planet beyond reckoning. It changes everything. Yet, we do not spend $1 pursuing it. That is madness. You could at least spend a little, tiny dollar when 20,000 children are dying each and every day. Free energy would solve that problem in seconds. On the web, free energy is criticized mainly by stupidity in my humble opinion. I will give you the commonest example. Free energy equals a perpetual motion machine. Perpetual motion machines are impossible, therefore, free energy is impossible. Yes. A perpetual motion machine is stupid. But to say that free energy equals a perpetual motion machine is so stupid that one can begin to cry. I am not a physicist. I am a hobby philosopher. You know, I am a true philosopher and not this. I was not born as a philosopher, but I took this PhD and now I am a philosopher. That is not a philosopher. School cannot transform you into a philosopher. You are born as a philosopher. I have spent my entire life thinking about the question, how did it all begin? I have been obsessed with the question to the brink of madness. When I jumped in, I saw free energy. So I was not interested in free energy to start with, that is, I was asleep like the rest of the world. Good thing they got the fusion thing going on, or else I would become a suicide bomber. Nature is immortal. But there is a question there, how? How is nature immortal? Free energy seems to be the only viable option. Thus, free energy answers a big philosophical question, why are we still here after all these eons of time? However, I do not have a PhD, which makes me a nobody in the world of academia. That is why I dedicate this work to the true God, Dionysus. I will rather sell my soul to the mad god than suck up to the latter. Let them bow down to Apollo while sucking up. I don't care. In my eyes, they will never find the beginning of time, nor the true philosopher's stone, because they are too busy getting their PhDs. I am an autodidact and proud of it. I was not born as a physicist, but I took this PhD and now I am a physicist. That might work for physicists, but it does not work for philosophers because philosophy is something of the heart and not the brain. As if it was Robert Frost's education that made him into a great poet. Nonsense. And I am a true philosopher because my philosophy is the philosophy of the philosopher's stone. A PhD addict cannot say that. So let me give you the stone. The philosopher's stone is the cuboctahedron. I figured that one out when I decoded the secrets of the alchemists. This is what Sir Isaac Newton spent his free time pursuing. He could never find it. Imagine that. The greatest genius of our time could not crack the code. Or, if he cracked it, he didn't tell the world. To be fair, I had infinite more power in my hands, viz., the internet. My solution. Heaven, fire, equals the triangle. Earth equals the square. Father and mother equals opposite sitting tetrahedron arrays like in the flag of the mother, the father, and the child, is, plus Ra plus L. Earth, plus fire, equals the cuboctahedron. Water equals the icosahedron. Air equals the octahedron. Fire equals the tetrahedron, e.g., the throne of God. Leaf 11, left, bottom through him who created the heavens and the earth I am the philosopher's stone, and in my body I carry something the wise seek. If such a charm be extracted from me, it will be a sweet refreshment for you. I am an animal having father and mother were created, and in my body are contained the four elements, and I am before father and mother and I am a poisonous animal. The secret teachings of all ages. The philosopher's stone equals heaven plus earth plus four elements. In addition, the stone has a father and a mother, that is, you will find the cuboctahedron within a stack of tetrahedron arrays, e.g., the 64 tetrahedron array, see the I Ching. The cuboctahedron is composed of triangles, heaven, and squares, earth, and, when you fold the cuboctahedron, you get the four elements. And note that it is impossible to find another solution than the cuboctahedron for the simple reason that you will not find anything in the universe which consists only of squares and triangles while simultaneously carries the four elements within itself. The cuboctahedron sits on a throne/triangle, I am before father and mother, and it is a poisonous animal when you fold it down, poison meaning fire. You get the throne of God when you fold the cuboctahedron completely. Jesus Christ is the philosopher's stone. Jesus Christ is the center point in the cuboctahedron where the 12 converging lines that make up the cuboctahedron meet. The 12 are of course the 12 disciples. The flag of Israel also contains the secret. Hell, when you know the secret, you will spot it in Greek mythology, Norse mythology, you will spot it in the Kabbalah, the I Ching, the flag of South Korea, in the symbology of the Masons, that is, this secret is everywhere. My personal guess is that this secret is so big and so important that it has been replicated ad infinitum in order to preserve it for the future. What does the philosopher's stone even mean? It means that we have been visited, therefore the philosopher's stone is the ultimate technology in the universe. Our forebears were smart, but they didn't have the ultimate technology in the universe, hence, ET is the safest bet. So now you know how Moses split the Red Sea. I am just kidding, I think. When you fold the cuboctahedron you get spin, so now you know the origin of spin. I believe it is a dual torus as you can fold it clockwise and anti-clockwise. Thus, free energy has to do with the dual torus. Eternity/nothingness equals the dual torus. Muspelheim and Nibelheim. And the philosopher's stone does look like a stone. Fitting name.